Hey y'all, it's me, Serena. Welcome back to my channel. My channel is about fashion, health and beauty, and lifestyle for those of us in our 40s, 50s, and beyond. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting that red subscribe button and give my video a thumbs up if you like it. I haven't done a health and beauty video in a while, and some of you had asked, hey, when do you do health and beauty videos? Because I've been doing so much fashion. So I decided to do a health and beauty video, and I am by no means a beauty guru. I do okay on myself just by trial and error and almost, 52 years of living on this earth and figuring out what works for me. And as you know, what works for us when we are 20 or 30 no longer works when we're 40 or 50 or beyond. So I thought I would just share some things that are working for me right now as far as foundation and just getting a good base for the rest of your makeup. And I don't have any filters on my camera because I'm just using an iPhone. I don't have anything fancy. I would like to get something a little bit better, maybe sometime soon, but right now I'm just filming this on my iPhone. And so I don't have any filters on, so pretty much what you see is what you get. If you see splotches, if you see my fine lines, you see my wrinkles, you see my big pores, well, hopefully you don't see them too bad because of the prep I do on my face. But what I'm trying to say is what you see is what you get. I don't have any filter. I don't have anything other than a ring light on, mainly because it just helps with shadows and because it's very overcast and dark outside today, so I really need one. But I'm just going to kind of go through what I do right now as far as my makeup routine, not my complete face, but just getting that perfect as you can, flawless as you can finish on your foundation. And yes, I'm by no means flawless, and neither is my foundation, but I think these are some good tips that hopefully you can benefit from. And I will have everything linked down below. I know sometimes with makeup, it's hard to order online because you don't know what shade to get and things like that, but most retailers have very liberal return policies when it comes to makeup. So even if you do order something online and if it doesn't work out, you can exchange it either in person or send it back. I've found everybody very liberal with the return policies, from Walmart to Ulta to Sephora to Belk, whoever, they'll take it back. So, and some of these things you don't need a particular color for, so that works out well. So, okay, to get started, I guess after I've cleansed my face and all that good stuff and dried it well, I do use my CeraVe facial lotion. You guys know I love my CeraVe products because I have very sensitive skin and these are very kind to my skin. Now, this says PM Ultra Lightweight Facial Moisturizing Lotion. I'm really not sure why this is the PM, because to me you need something a little bit heavier in the PM, to put that moisture back in your face. But I like the weight of this and the fact that it soaks in and doesn't leave any weird residue on my face. And for me, it's the perfect light moisturizer to go underneath everything else I'm going to use on my face. And I don't have it here with me, but I also use the CeraVe under eye cream. It comes in a little tube, and I put that under, well, all around my eyes as well. So I use both of those. That's the first step I do after I have cleansed and dried my face. So this is a favorite. I go through this stuff like crazy. The next step is a good primer, and that is really the secret to making your makeup look good and to keep it lasting a long time. And I skipped primer for a long time. I didn't think it was necessary, but then once I started using primers, I quickly became a convert, and I can't emphasize how much the correct priming can do for your makeup, for its look, its finish, and how long it wears. Now, I have two that I go back and forth between, and it depends on the kind of makeup I'm wearing, and I'll explain that The makeup I'm wearing today is probably my most worn makeup. And it is this by Pure Cosmetics. It's the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie foundation. This foundation tends to be a little more toward the matte finish, especially if you don't use a primer, or if you use a pore filling mattifying primer, then this is going to dry really quickly and it's going to be a little bit hard to work with and blend it unless you can move super fast. So when I use this foundation, which I love, I'm wearing it today, it has a beautiful finish. It's full coverage, but your skin still looks like skin. And that's what I love about it. And the primer that I tend to use with that foundation is this primer by NYX, the Marshmallow Primer. And it does a decent job of filling in pores and fine lines, but it's not a mattifying primer. So it leaves your skin a little bit more dewy, a little bit more moist, not overly moist, but a little bit moist. And so it's just the perfect backdrop for a more matte makeup like this. And it gives you a little bit more working time that you can get this blended and, you know, evenly distributed across your face. And what I do, I just pump one pump out onto the top of my hand, and then I just dot an area and then I blend it. And tools are just as important as the products. So I usually use this is not a Beauty Blender brand sponge. This is the Real Techniques brand. It's a lot cheaper than the Beauty Blender brand, but to me it does just as well. And you can get these at Target, Ulta, pretty much anywhere. Even Walmart has these. And I think one this size is like $6 or $7. And yes, mine needs to be washed. I just used it, so that's why it looks dirty. I need to wash it. But after I dot my foundation around, then I take this and pounce and blend it. And then I move on to the next area and then blending as I go. And of course, you want to get this really damp, or I get it wet and then squeeze all the water out of it. So you want it damp to be able to blend. So that's kind of my routine for the foundation. Prime first. Use the NYX Marshmallow Primer. Then I dot this in an area, blend it with my damp Beauty Blender sponge, and keep going until my entire face is covered. And I don't do my concealer first. I do my foundation first, and I don't put foundation under my eyes, but if a little bit gets under there, I go ahead and I blend it. Especially if I have a little bit of extra makeup, I'll go ahead and blend it onto my eyelids for a little bit of eyeshadow base. And I will, you know, kind of blend it up under my eyes a little bit. But once all that is done, then I go in with my concealer. And right now, my holy grail under eye concealer is the Tarte Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. And you can see how much I've used of this. And I mean, I'm telling you, a little dab of this goes a long, long way. I've had this for months, and I'm probably about halfway through the tube. But I'm telling you, this will cover whatever sins you have. I have very dark under eye, and just the whole area surrounding my eye is very dark, just naturally. So this covers it better than anything else, and I don't have to build it up. There are some other concealers that will cover, but I have to build it up, and the more you build things up under your eyes, the more it's going to emphasize those fine lines and wrinkles. So that's why I like this, because a little dab will do you and cover what needs to be covered. And I pat it in with my finger, and then I go back with my damp Beauty Blender and just blend it out to make sure it's blended and feathered into my foundation flawlessly as I can, evenly, so you don't see any lines or anything like that. Now another concealer that I do really like, and sometimes I do use this, it's the new Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear. Now it's a little bit more emollient than the creamy Shape Tape. Even though this says creamy, it still dries down even without powder to a fairly, I guess, a satin finish. Not matte, but a satin finish. This is more emollient, and I have to set this with some powder pretty quickly or it will start to catch in the creases underneath my eyes. But it's a beautiful, beautiful finish in the concealer. It just is not quite as opaque as the Shape Tape when it comes to covering my dark circles. And that's the only reason that this is my holy grail, because of my dark circles. If I didn't have that problem, you know, I would probably be using this just as much, if not more often, because it is a very beautiful finish. And same thing, dot it on, blend it with a beauty blender. And then if I've got a few little sunspot discolorations and things like that, I'll put a little dab of the concealer on there and blend it out with the damp beauty blender. And another thing that I like to do as far as blending things in and blurring those pores, especially here around my nostrils and here, I have some really big pores, and even with primer, sometimes when I go over my face with the foundation, even with the beauty blender, sometimes the foundation will skip over the pores and not get down into the pore, and that just magnifies it, like, okay, here's this pore. So this is a little tip I learned from the great Wayne Goss, and it has changed my makeup, is get you a little densely packed brush. This is an old concealer brush that I've had forever, but the bristles are very densely packed. And I go around the edges of my nostrils and up here, and I just kind of stipple down in there, and I push that foundation down into those big pores, and really anywhere. I've got a few that are right here along my cheeks. I've got a few sometimes I need to do around the corners of my mouth. Anywhere that you have big pores that foundation tends to skip over, just use a little brush like this and kind of stipple it into those areas, and that will take care of the foundation sitting like on top of your skin and not getting down into the pores. And it does an amazing job at minimizing your pores. So that's a little tip I learned from him. And then to set everything, right now, my favorite powder is this Maybelline Fit Me Loose powder. And I'm using this just in the color Fair Light. I think it does come in a translucent that has no color, but this works fine with me. And I use a big fluffy brush and just dust it all over my face. I like this because it gives a nice set finish to your makeup, but it's not chalky or dry. It has like a satiny finish. It doesn't have a sheen to it, but you can see a little bit of sheen. It leaves your skin looking like skin and not cakey or dry or anything like that. And then I use a smaller brush and I dab it lightly underneath my eyes and all over my eyelid, and that kind of gives me a base for my eyeshadow and everything. So that is my favorite, and this is a drugstore product, as is the NYX Marshmallow Foundation. Those are drugstore products. Now, if I'm using a more emollient makeup, like this one that I introduced you guys to this summer, this CoverGirl Simply Ageless, I do have to use a mattifying, pore-filling primer. And for that, my holy grail primer is this. It's by Benefit. It's the Pore-Fessional. I use the original one. They have a moisturizing version. They have a pearlescent one that gives you a little bit of a sheen, which, you know, I can't do that. But this combined with this is a beautiful finish as well. I just haven't been using this lately because I need to get a new color. This is my summertime color and it is too dark. So I need to find a better color match for these cooler months when I'm not out in the sun. But this does a fantastic job of coverage and hiding everything. And I have found through trial and error and different methods of putting this on that the best way for me to apply that foundation is with a big, flat, densely packed foundation brush like this one. This one is by Sonia Kashuk from Target. And it is just a flat head. You can see that flat foundation brush. I got this in a little kit. My daughter got me this last year for Christmas. And it came in that kit. And that is what I use to apply this foundation. And it is just really flawless if you can get that in a color that matches your skin tone. Highly recommend that one. And I am going to get a new color of that, the Maybelline, or the CoverGirl rather, Simply Ageless for winter, since I've had to finally turn on my heat for winter and my skin's going to be getting drier. I think that will be a really great foundation to use in the winter months. And another great powder, and the powder that I use along with the CoverGirl foundation, is this It Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores powder. And this is just in the color translucent, so it doesn't have any color. But this will set and mattify pretty much anything. And I have found that with the emollient factor of this makeup, it really needs something that can mattify it and make it last. So that is where this It powder comes in. It will make anything stay and will mattify and set your makeup beautifully. A little bit goes a long way, so you don't have to use a ton. And just like the Maybelline, it doesn't leave a chalky or powdery cakey finish. It's just beautiful. But it can be a tad bit drying, I have found, which is why it's good to use with a more emollient foundation. And lastly, after you get all your makeup done, or not all your makeup, but all your foundation done, your primer, your foundation, your concealer, your setting powder, if you really want to make things last all day long, another product that I've become a big fan of is this Milani Make It Last setting spray. And so after you've got all that on, but before you do your mascara and eyeliner or any of that, just I hold it out about this far, I don't know, 12 to 18 inches, and just spray. You don't want to do it too close because you can get big droplets on. You want it to be a fine mist. So hold it out and just spray, spray, spray. Just coat your face evenly and then let that dry thoroughly and you are set. And this is the original Make It Last setting spray. And then there's also a dewy finish one I have not tried, but this is the original and I like it. That way it doesn't do anything to the finish of your makeup. You know, what you see is what you get. So that is my current flawless foundation routine for mature skin. And I hope that you got some helpful tips or tricks for products or tools. And I will have everything that I can linked down below in the description box, either from Walmart or Ulta, wherever, or Target, wherever these items came from. I'll be sure to link those for you if you would like to order any of these, and they would make great stocking stuffers too, thinking ahead toward Christmas. So any of these tools or primers or anything like that that don't have to be color specific, great gifts. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and until I see you guys next time, have a stylish day. Bye-bye.